the fastest growing podcast in the history of the known universe. And today we're coming at you live from Coach's Pub in Midtown, run by my good friend Robbie. If you're looking for a place to come have a drink, it's a terrific sports bar, great place to watch your football on weekends, but also just a cool place to hang out. So come on by. We'll be here until 6 o'clock, maybe a little later if a few of you show up and want to do shots or something silly. I'm always up for that. But Rogelio's in the house. We got a few more folks coming, and should be a very fun show today. Jermaine Every will join me. It's been a while since Jermaine's been on the show, and we'll spend a lot of time recapping what happened in college football and the NFL. And after that, we're going to have a bunch of guests for you. We're going to have a lot of people running through here today, and we're going to have some fun. So, yeah, it'll be sportsy, and of course, I'll do something, I'll talk about some other stuff. Before we get to the sports, I had a cure incident today. I kind of came over here earlier to kind of look at the setup and have lunch and everything else. But I went home to walk her before the show. And those of you who have dogs know that if they get a bird in their mouth, you're not going to get it. And I hear this squeak squeak behind me as I'm going down the stairs, and somehow some bird had fallen on the ground, and boy, did she get it. And I kept trying to get it away from her, and yep, she snipped me. Pretty good bite, but you know, what are you going to do? Like, I had a dog that was guilty of cat slaughter. I mean, this isn't avian slaughter either. I mean, it's a bird, right? If you're on the ground, I mean, you're fair game for the dog. So, anyway, that was the big thing from this afternoon. I want to welcome everybody in. Chucky D's in the house, Jared's in the house, B. Hannon, Todd the Show, who got his dog got a duck inside of the dog park in the Woodlands. The kids were screaming. Uh, Joel's here, Largo's here, and yeah, Kevin Porter Husky. Oh man, but the one thing I'll give her credit for is we have like a rule: anything she picks up outside, she can't take in the house. She'll leave it on the balcony. So she left this bloody mess of a bird on the balcony, and I had to go out there and clean it up. Uh, Real pleasant. But yeah, otherwise, I don't know about you guys. Had a pretty quiet weekend other than watching the UH game at PJ's on Saturday night with Lawyer Dave. That wasn't much fun. And then also watched the Texans game yesterday at PJ's. Not much fun. So maybe there's a common thread there. And, I kind of have my triumvirate of places I go, and PJ's is my neighborhood bar, and Coaches is a great place to come if you want to watch all the games on all the TVs. And it's an afternoon hangout, just like the Phoenix, which is my other main go-to place. Be over there tomorrow, as a matter of fact. So, Chucky talked about Micah Parsons. Wow, yeah, we're going to get to all the NFL. Once Jermaine comes in, we will do. We're going to do colleges first. Interesting weekend in college football, even though we all thought it was going to suck, but it turned out to be great. So, yeah, I'm going to tell you, we're in Midtown, Coach's Pub. It's right on the corner of Louisiana and Webster. It's one of the few places in Midtown that actually has parking, which is a good thing. And Robbie, the owner, does a great job. So come by, say hello. We'll be here. So I will tell you about one of my other go-tos, the Phoenix on Westheimer. I'll be over there Thursday. And if you're a college football fan, it's a big Penn State bar. My daughter likes that. And they show all the Penn State games, and we'll get to Penn State. Right now, Premier League, you got Euro Cup coming up. All of these things they have there, right? And they are the best soccer bar in the city, and they do a lot of charity work. In fact, I'm going to meet with Vu tomorrow about our next big charity event, which might be on my birthday on December 18th. We will see. We're going to work all that out tomorrow. But great food, great staff, terrific people. And all of the staff over there, Camilla and Bailey and Derek, they're all just fantastic. So you're going to get great food, you're going to have a great time, and you're going to get taken care of. So, all right, let's get the show rolling. No Jermaine yet, so he'll have to miss out on a couple things. I'll talk about first. And it's funny because I know Dana Holgerson was defending his play calling today. I think there were some of the plays that might have been the right call. I just don't think they were executed very well, and that goes to coaching. That's but TCU's a better football team, and I think we kind of lost sight of that because they lost to Colorado, and that was week one, right? And I don't think any of us knew what Colorado was going to be at the time. So, yeah, it was really UH had their chances. If you can't convert on, 4th and 1, like how many times did they blow that? Then you're not going to win the game. So it was frustrating, and there were a lot of play calls that I didn't like. But I mean, TCU's better, and it's going to be a rough year for UH. And Behannon asked if UH loses to Sam, he has to get canned, right? You know what the problem is? I think there's a bigger problem with the coaching staff. If you fired him, who's your interim coach? I mean, who's even remotely qualified to do that? Belk? Yeah, it shouldn't be a 12-point spread. I mean, Sam's better than people think. I mean, when BYU struggled to beat him, everybody's, oh, well, maybe BYU's not that good. I think we've seen BYU's pretty good. So, yeah, if I'm UH, I don't feel good about playing Sam Houston State. BC in Houston in the house, and we actually came up with a play for you guys, which we'll do when we get to NFL. Jared Dana has to go. Yeah, the problem with this is he's lost the fan base, right? And Chris from Sam Houston, we're gonna kick some Cougar butt this weekend. Did you do that in Waterboy voice? Mud dogs, mud dogs. But no, I think we really need to see some improvement out of this team. I think there's talent there, but here's my thought, and this is kind of my last thought on UH. But the difference between last year's team that won 8 games and the team the year before that won 12 was Marcus Jones. Marcus Jones won games for them in the return game, including the SMU game. That was just as obvious as it can be, right? Bleed Blue, welcome back. It finally asked about you, and someone told me about the Falconcast. Guys, please keep telling your friends. Not everybody's on Twitter and Facebook. Thursdays is AJ. Mondays is a compilation. Usually on Mondays, what we do is we do sports for the first half hour, and then the rest of the show, some of my comedian friends come on, or my music friends, and we mix it up a little bit. We'll do a little TV and things like that. So you get everything. It's a little more structured because it's only an hour. So anyway, welcome in all the new folks, and just let them know they can get on Twitch and comment, and we'll go back and forth. But the point I was going to make, the difference between UH with Marcus Jones was 4 wins. The difference between UH without Tank Dell, we're about to find out. So Jared says I'm choppy. I think the internet's pretty good here, but let me double check because these things can happen. All right, I'm okay. I'm going to try to switch the internet here, hopefully without blowing things. No, I'm on the right internet. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, I talked to Jermaine earlier today. I don't know where the hell he is. But yeah, I mean, the other games I'm going to get to in college is because, there he is. Fine. Hang on a sec. About damn time, hoser.
Hey, look, I have to come home and get my professional broadcasting setup.
Really?
Yeah.
That's your setup is a white window behind you, and that's professional?
Yeah, because I didn't put the background and stuff up yet. Like I just haven't done it. I got it. I just didn't put it up today because I just got home from daddy duty, picking up my daughter from tutoring and getting home from work and stuff like that.
Looking at you being all responsible.
Exactly.
Come on, man.
Leaving work and telling people, hey, I'm leaving work early, and then going to pick my daughter up from school and being all responsible and everything. Just, living the dream.
Yeah, just don't let her fail if you're going to all that effort, right?
Oh no, but that's why, it was cool because she knew she took care of it herself. Like she was just like, yeah, I got to stay after school for tutoring. I was like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, because you do need to stay after school for tutoring for that class. So she pretty much just took it on herself to say, "Hey, I need to go to tutoring." So I was like, "All right, cool, no big
Well,
deal."
yeah, my afternoon was coming over here to hang out for lunch and look at the setup, and then go home and take my dog out, and she ate a bird. So you missed all that. But
Oh snap!
yeah, you know what they do. That's how they
Oh
work.
yeah, of course, of
But
course.
yeah, I've already covered UH and how embarrassing that was. So I want to move on to some other stuff. Um, I thought the game of the day Saturday was a game that none of us would have talked about. I'm pretty sure nobody would have been interested in it. But Missouri, Kansas State, um, that turned out to be one hell of a football game at the end. Uh,
And the thing is though, when I looked at that score, I kind of I saw that Mizzou won, and I was like, oh okay, and I didn't think twice about it. But then when I kept seeing, I was like, wait, Missouri actually beat K State. It kind of like you see a score in passing, you're just like, oh okay, whatever. But then you look at it again, like, wait a minute, that actually happened. It totally threw me for a loop. And not just the fact that they won the game, but a 61 yarder.
well, and the kid hit missed kicks earlier in the game, but he's
Gee.
but he's your typical fat kicker. He can kick it a mile. He's actually
Mm-hmm.
better. He's actually better over 50 yards. But what you didn't see was one of the worst coaching things that I think I've seen in a long time by Missouri. There's 8 seconds left. They're out of timeouts. They spike the
Mm-hmm.
ball. Clock stops. They all walk over to the sideline like they got a timeout. Guess what happens? You look up on the play clock. Everybody's on the sideline. There's 5 seconds left. There's nothing you can do at that point.
Yeah.
So they had the delay of game, which made it a 61-yard field goal. Now the kid bailed him out, but yeah, it was just a bizarre ending, and we saw a lot of bizarre endings this weekend. I think Alabama's got some issues. I mean, they were always going to win that game, but they, now they're down to a third quarterback. I just don't think they have a quarterback. And AJ and I were talking about this Thursday. UT's got two guys on the bench that are better than anything Alabama has.
Exactly. And that's the killer part about the way things have been going, like lately in college football. You got a team like Bama who you think they're gonna just reload. Everybody thinks every year Bama's just gonna reload, reload, reload. Okay, who's the next guy that's gonna be under center for Bama who's gonna take over and lead this program to 10, 11 wins, college football playoff appearance, so on and so forth. And then you see them struggling, and not just struggling, but they thought Milroe was gonna be it, and he's not it. They thought the other kid, what's his name, Tyler Bunch or whatever they thought he was gonna be it. He's not it. Now they got a third kid that they're bringing in, and they still haven't named a starting quarterback for next week, and it's going to be an open competition. Tyler Buckner, I'm sorry, and Ty Simpson is the other kid. So if the saying is if you have two quarterbacks, you have none. If you got three guys, you have -2, I guess, because what are you going to do when you get to the meat of that schedule and you're going against teams like LSU? That has a hungry defense who wants to make up for that Florida State loss. What do you do when you're coming up? I believe it's this week. They play Ole Miss, and what's his name?
Lane Kiffin.
Lane Kiffin. Yeah, I couldn't even think of his name. I was about to say Steve Sarkisian, another Nick Saban disciple. But Lane Kiffin is chomping at the bit to beat Nick Saban while they're vulnerable right now. So that could be a program making victory for him because then he can hang his hat and say, "Yeah, we beat number 10 Alabama." You know, uh, they're struggling over there with their quarterback position. They don't know what they're going to do right now this year. So what makes you think that they're going to do anything special about it? Next year, whatever. That's a program making win for an organization like that, and I think that's something that when a team like Bama shows kinks in the armor, you got to take advantage of it. Same thing with Clemson. Look at Clemson; they're not looking good right now either. And Florida State is going to take clear advantage of them on Saturday, and I think that's going to be a runaway.
Well, I'll tell you what. Uh, I think Clemson and Alabama have a very similar situation. For a stretch, you had Deshaun Watson, you had Trevor Lawrence,
Mm-hmm.
and I think they just screwed up DJ, and he certainly looks fine at Oregon State. But
Exactly.
those were high draft picks. Well, Look at what Alabama's had the last few years. Jalen Hurts, uh, you know, Tua, who's both those guys. Hurts was in the MVP conversation last year. Tua is going to be in it this year. Mac Jones, who he's a terrible, but he was a great college quarterback. He was better than
Hmm.
both of them numbers wise. And now you got you're pulling guys off the street, and you don't have that, and suddenly you're not the dominant force you once were. And I think it's also the wide receivers. Like
Yeah.
they have lost a lot of great wide receivers over the last few years, and you can get 5 stars, but they don't all turn into Jalen Waddle. You know,
Exactly. You're not gonna get a bunch of Calvin Ridleys and Julio Joneses and Devontae Smiths. You're not gonna get a bunch of guys that are just route technicians, and you're gonna get a bunch of Jalen Waddles and Henry Ruggses and guys like that, guys that are just burners. Those guys don't grow on trees. You have to not only get guys that have the physical traits and abilities, but you have to coach them up as well. And it just seems like it's one of those lulls in Alabama's, time on top where they don't have all the top level talent back to back to back like they've had all these years. When you get a team like that and you get them down, they're vulnerable. You have to take advantage of it. And I think that there's teams like what Florida did to Tennessee was impressive this past
yeah,
Saturday. So you get teams like that, that's on the come, and it's going to be like you're going to see a whole topsy turvy thing now. Georgia is looking kind of vulnerable themselves with the acne face, pimple face kid at quarterback now. I just think that it's one of those years where I wouldn't, I wouldn't be surprised if we got some new blood into the CFP.
well, the one thing about the Georgia game, watching that, and by the way, why is it Georgia always has the classic Southern name for their quarterback?
Carson
Stetson,
Beck.
Stetson Bennett the fourth, sir. Carson Beck, sir. Carson. Who names their kid Carson? All right, if anybody on here's named their kid Carson, I apologize. Uh, but a couple of things before we get to break, and we'll keep going with this. But Chuck asked Fred, "Didn't you have a date this weekend?" No, that was last weekend's failure. This weekend, I've completely quit. We'll talk about that with Jermaine here in a little bit because he's been through it.
Yep.
Andrew Lanham in the house, and it's really good timing because I was just about to tell you about Lanham Industries. And you know what? I'm hopefully as soon as I get this final money from the movie, I'm gonna get me a place on Lake Livingston, and I'm gonna have Andrew and his crew do everything, and they can help you find the right home and location, decor and theme, price points, and if you're already there, how about this? They have all your home service needs, whether it's your vacation home or your weekend home or you live there. Cleaning, lawn care, laundry, maintenance, excuse me, inventory management, and property management services are available. Now, you guys know me. I ain't doing any cleaning or lawn care. So who do you think I'm going to go to? 5-star rating from guests and owners, veteran owned and operated, which we all know is extremely important, and a highly trained and dedicated crew. You can call them 936-581-6166 or 346-773-9577, or just go online to lanhamindustries.com, LANHAM industries.com. And if you can't remember any of that, just hit me up on email, or most of you have my phone number. Just hit me up and I'll put you in touch. So, Lanham Industries and Andrew in the house. Okay, so just a couple other games that I wanted to get to.
Hmm.
One of my biggest bets of the weekend was LSU, and boy, they just treated Mississippi State like they were, you know, Ed Norton in the prison scene. It was
Yeah, I actually I had way too much faith in Mississippi State's defense. And as I'm, doing my, you know, lead up to the game stuff and researching and everything, I was just like, maybe this is the time where their coach, who's I believe the defensive coordinator, who's played against Jaden Daniels 3 other times last year, and then 2 times when he was at Arizona State. Like, okay, maybe this is the time he'll figure it out and kind of contain this kid. And Mississippi State always has NFL type of guys along that defense, especially on that front. Um, they always have top level talent, and they always give LSU a really good game. I gave them way too much credit. Totally ignored the fact that their coach now wants to do more run based offense as opposed to, chunking it 60, 70 times a game like Mike Leach used to. So he doesn't quite have the personnel in there yet. They're still trying to figure things out. And they lost a couple of playmakers on that team as well. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe just maybe they might keep it within the number. And I should have just listened to AJ's column that he wrote for us on Death Valley Insider saying, LSU will definitely cover the 9. And I went the opposite direction trying to be smart. Good thing I didn't place a whole lot of money on it because I clearly way overvalue Mississippi State's offense and defense.
Yeah,
And
I would just say I was 100% in agreement with AJ because you can't just take a Mike Leach off a team with an offense you have to be a counterintuitive offense at Mississippi State. You can't go out there and play heads up with Mississippi and Alabama and teams like that. And I mean, yeah, when you had Dak Prescott, it worked 1 year. And so I didn't like the hire. I don't like what they're doing. And LSU, it was a first game. They had to do something and to recover from it. And they did. And Jaden Daniels is a beast. So, yeah, I usually don't rub it in when somebody's wrong, but I think everybody that I know, except for you, was on the other side. Well, everybody I know and respect. Let me put it that way. So.
yeah. And it was one of those things where covering his team and following them and, being immersed in it, you kind of, I kind of like look a little too deep into the weeds, and you know their strengths, you know their weaknesses, you know their deficiencies and whatnot. And my thing was looking at their first 2 games. Well, their first game in the first quarter of the Grambling game, you could attack this defense in the secondary if you can get time for your quarterback to throw the ball. It's been proven. However, Mississippi State could not find a way to get anything done. Their biggest play was when one of the corners, Alexander, kind of made a business decision when he didn't have to, and he whiffed on a tackle, and the kid takes it 52 yards up the sideline. Mind you, Mississippi State only had about 200 or so yards of total offense in that whole game. So literally a fourth of their offense came from one play off of one missed tackle. And I mean, they just got bludgeoned. It was Jaden Daniels didn't have an incompletion until the first quarter was almost over. He didn't have his second incompletion until 5 minutes into the second half. And that was followed up with his third incompletion, which should have been a pass interference call, but they picked up the flag. So I mean, he literally torched that team at any way he possibly could. He and Malik Neighbors end up putting up video game numbers, and it's just ridiculous. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the rest of their season is going to go, because they had their wake-up call against Florida State. They had their get-right game against Grambling. And they had their, hey, you know what, we can really do this game just now against a divisional SEC conference opponent in Mississippi State. So now it's like, okay, build on this and go into next week against Arkansas and take care of business against another team that you should take care of business against. But unfortunately, LSU tends to have those games every year where they'll drop a game or have an inexplicable, really close game to someone they shouldn't. So I'm just kind of holding off hope and wondering when will that game be.
God, you were so negative about your team. It's funny. A couple other games I want to hit real quick. First off, we mentioned Georgia, South Carolina a little bit, but I was just going to say I never saw Georgia losing that game, even when Spencer Rattler had them up 14-3. I mean, if you were watching it, Georgia was so much better in the trenches that it was just a matter of time before they wore them down. And the other one, how about Florida State almost losing to Boston College? I mean, Boston College scores 13 in the fourth and has the ball with a chance to get in field goal range. And they screwed it up because they're Boston College. But that game was way closer than it needed to be.
Yeah, there was a point in the beginning of that game when Boston College was kind of like, hey, we're here to stay. We're going to play this through. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe they got something going on here. And then Florida State, eventually took over and showed who and why they are Florida State. But then, like you said, Boston College was like, we're not giving up. And a lot of the times, I think when teams get down by more than 2 scores, they tend to, especially if they don't feel as though they can win, they kind of fall back and kind of like, oh well, whatever. We showed up, hey. But credit to those guys, they didn't give up. They kept fighting and actually made a game out of it. Now, I'll caution anybody who thinks that because Boston College was able to mount this great comeback, that they can take that as a sign of Florida State falling off, or that Florida State isn't going to be that good the rest of this year. Because don't kid yourself. That team is legit. They got real good talent on both sides of the ball, and they're going to be the class of the ACC. I don't see another ACC team beating them this year to kind of knock them off their perch. It's going to be an upset victory if they should happen to win.
I think if you're looking for a team that might upset them, we can look at Louisville, but we'll talk about that at another time. Flip says AJ's Washington is a lock. That team is. BC and I were talking about this at lunch today. Every now and then you find a team that you're going to ride all year. And AJ loved Washington. BC loved Washington. I love Washington. I'm like, all right, that's our team, and they're just killing it. I think they're a legitimate playoff threat, but it's going to be tough sledding in the Pac-12. And the other one I wanted to get to, great comeback for Colorado to beat Colorado State, and but now the real test starts, and now you get Oregon at Eugene, and then you get USC. I think, and not to sound harsh here, because everybody's going to be like, oh, I think this team will be bowl eligible, and I think that's a big step forward. But you're getting into big boy pants now.
Yep.
And I think it's going to be real tough for them against Oregon.
It's going to be definitely tough for them against Oregon. Not only are they playing against a better team, but they're going at it without one of their aces in the hole. Travis Hunter is going to be out for the next 3 weeks, at least, with a ruptured spleen, lacerated liver, just all kinds of internal injuries after that nasty hit. And just to think that kid actually came back and played in that game after that injury, after that hit, I mean. But it was already going to be a tough game for him. It's going to get even tougher now. But I was talking with some friends of mine this weekend as we were watching the game. We're texting back and forth. They're light in the ass in the trenches.
Oh yeah,
on the offensive line and defensive line, and it shows. When you have bigger, more physically talented defensive linemen, they're getting to Shedeur Sanders way too quickly. And teams just run over them, and they can't apply any pressure with their pass rush when it comes to defense. So I see this as, being a real good test. If they're going to make a showing in these next 2 games, it's going to be because their offense is going to be clicking at such a high rate that they're going to be in another shootout. It's going to be another 40-something to 30-something game, and that's the only way that these guys are going to win, because that defense is not built to stop anybody or slow anybody down. It's just not at this point in time.
All right, couple things. First, Bear Brother just joined, and you got there just in time. We were talking about Dion, and I talked about the Cougs at the top of the show and have nothing else to say, sir. I'm sorry. But the beauty of a podcast, you go back and listen back, right? And DP, if you want a fantasy question, I will do it at the end of the show, because we kind of have the show plotted out, and I'm happy to answer your fantasy questions. But let's save those till the end, and I'll tell you and be happy to help you. All right, right now, you know who can help you? Can't really see because the light's right on my head. But you can look at his hair, and you can see Dr. Linville's, and it's amazing. And he can help with your hair, and you can look almost as good as him. How about that? What's going on, bud?
I appreciate that. What are you guys up to? Where are you, Fred? Forget.
Coach's Pub in Midtown, and
awesome.
Yeah, and then Thursday I'll be at the Phoenix on Westheimer, but Coach's is my Midtown place. So came over here. Sweet. And my friend Robbie's going to pop on a little bit and tell you about all the cool things they have going on. But great place to come watch your football. I mean, I don't know how many TVs they have, but it's even more dates than I've been on in the last few weeks. So you'll be able to watch every game you want. And it's a great place on Saturdays and Sundays for football. But even during the week, BC and I come here for lunch all the time. So, what's been going on with you, brother?
Not much, just work, trying to get through this heat and a lot of work, and then I went to Indianapolis for a wedding and stuff like that.
Hey, you're always somewhere. You're always somewhere. Like I'll text you, I'm out of town. So.
I know, I try. Some guys, we were talking about this last time, Fred. Some guys just look better bald, like my man here in the middle here, and that's the time when you don't want to do hair transplants. So there are times when I tell patients, nope, sorry, there's no amount of hair that's gonna come close to that. So just stick with what you got.
I just need like this one spot right here on my beard where it just doesn't quite connect like this side does.
Oh yeah, well that's easy.
Damn,
yeah,
just
that's
that
very easy.
One spot.
That's super easy. Yeah.
Is that still $4 a graft, just like their
hair? Yeah. Although we're running a special. We're running a special right now, so it's $350 a graft for like about a month. But yeah, that little stuff like that's super easy. Yeah. We do like that, and then like on women, we'll do like eyebrows, but beard. We've done a few beards. Yeah, we've done a few like beard and like to fill it up. So sometimes you can take it from parts that are thick, and it's super easy.
See, we just don't
want to move the beard up to the head. I don't think that's exactly what like a great look.
No, like I'm cool with the bald look, and my son is a barber now, so he can shave my head, keep it shaved.
Oh, nice.
But just that one little spot right there, I just need taken care of.
Beautiful. Well, I don't know how you manage that, but that's great.
I never noticed that. Now that you brought it up, I can't stop looking at it.
See?
Oh my god! My god! It's so disgusting. It looks like me naked. That's how disgusting it is. But
oh damn.
No, but Jermaine's kind of famous because he has a fat brother on ESPN that looks just like him. Only he's like 200 pounds more.
The heavier doppelganger. Nice.
I can't remember his name, but yeah.
Marcus Spears.
Marcus Spears.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I just call him Fat Jermaine. So anyway,
right.
And before we kind of wrap up the hair stuff, I wanted to mention, I had a couple of women ask me, does he do work on us? And I'm like, yes. And and one of them who's been on our show, Eva, said last week she wants to reach out and see if she can get some work done. And so tell them a little bit about what you do there, because we do have a lot of female listeners apparently. And
I do like all plastic surgery for men and women, but for women I do mommy makeovers, and so I do a lot of breast rejuvenation, tummy tucks, lipo, skin tightening kind of things. So that's actually what I do aside from the hair stuff in a typical day. So yeah, that's mostly what I do actually. So actually, Fred, I'm gonna have some gift cards and stuff, and so people can go to the landing page that we have and inquire about things for their wives or whatever, or themselves. If they want, like it'll still come to me. But next time I come on, I'll have some like gift card opportunities since the holidays are getting close.
Cool, and I'll post that link on here when we're done. But it's basically hairspecialisthouston.com/getfalconhair. But
yep.
If you want a mommy makeover, you can still go there, and
right.
And they'll take care of
it. I do guys tummy tucks. And then there's some advanced things for lipo. Like I'll do some chest sculpting and ab etching and things like that to help guys who just can't quite get to where they want. Do all like a lot of people have lost a ton of weight, especially with the new weight loss meds. So everybody kind of has loose skin after that kind of thing. So there's no reason to have that skin flopping around and everybody be insecure about it. It's just cut it off and sew it up, and make it pretty.
Yeah, well, that's something I'm definitely gonna be talking to you about soon. I lost weight, but it wasn't from meds; it was from divorce and illness. So, but hey,
I'll do it too, man. Guys have it tougher than we let on. Everything, all that stuff is stressful.
Yeah, we've talked about that, and we're actually gonna do kind of a off-show pod at some point where we kind of get into that, because I don't think guys talk about it enough, and I don't think they have people to talk to about it. And most of us don't. And and Kane and I were talking about it a lot the last time we were at Phoenix, and it's just a lot of times everyone wants to think the guy's the dickweed, and sometimes you feel like the dickweed even when you weren't. So
we're definitely led to believe that, but it's not always the case.
no,
So
and and it's always hard, especially doing what I do, because I don't want to say anything bad about my ex publicly. I still think she's a wonderful woman, but it's also just one of those things where it wasn't all my fault. I'll just put it that way.
yeah,
But let's get back to the hair special. It's like $350 now for a craft, right? And that
350 a
doesn't.
graph, which is, to give reference point, Fred, like I'm on the low end already. Like some places charge $5, $6, $7 a graph. So I'm already at the low end. So another 50 cents off a graft could be on the difference of $1,000 or $2,000, depending on how many you need. So it's a significant discount that I'm offering right now, just to help people out and get it done.
All right, so go to hairspecialist.com/getfalconhair, and I'm going to
Get
tweet that
Falcon
out
hair.
later. Yeah, and they did a really funny meme. I'm going to put that on both Facebook and Twitter later today, and I will put it in the Twitch, the link here. And listen, the consult is free if tell them you heard about it on Falconcast, and and like I always tell you, Doc, if this whole doctor thing and fixing breast thing doesn't work out, I think you'd be pretty good at this.
Oh, I'm ready, man. It all started here right now.
All right. Well, we will.
Right,
We'll do that other one we talked about, man. I appreciate you coming on, and good stuff, man.
All right, brother. Thanks. You guys take care.
All right, take it easy.
Be
Good old Dr. Linville.
Yeah, he's a great guy, and and we've talked about doing this podcast and kind of going through the male side of it, and because I just don't think there's a lot of that out there, and especially, I mean, we've all been through it, and you've been through it. I've been through it again, and again. But if you Behannon asking where his office is, it's over in the medical center. If I remember right, it's right off Fannin. It's in that area, so he's over there with all the cool people. So, all right, let's just drop one more college game that I wanted to look at. Well, you know what? I think we've gone pretty far over. Let's just go ahead and jump to the pros. Let's start with the games tonight, though. Your Saints -3. I actually like the Saints.
Yeah, I like the Saints because they are, I believe it's 9-2, or technically 10-3, if you want to count these other couple of games, under Dennis Allen's tutelage, going against rookie or first year. I believe it's rookie quarterbacks, not first year starters, but rookie quarterbacks specifically. And who are they going against tonight? Rookie quarterback. So I fully expect that defense to confuse the hell out of Bryce and just take advantage of things. And we saw Carr starting to build a real rapport last week with that receiving core, because he was the one who called the deep shot to Rashid Shaheed. He was like, hey, just go, just run. And I mean, to seal the game and to take that shot on a third down in that close of a game is ballsy. But I mean, when you got a guy who can make that throw and you got a receiver who can go out there and run past that DB like that, also adding to the fact that I believe J.C. Horn, their best corner, is now on IR. So you have a rookie quarterback, your best corner is going on IR. It doesn't matter if Brian Burns in that pass rush is pinning their ears back trying to come after Derek Carr, because if that line can just somehow find a way to give him a few seconds to throw the ball, Saints are going to eat this Panthers defense up. So that them covering the 3, I'm not worried about. The only thing I am really worried about is that over and under, and I'm not sure which side to go on that 39.5.
All right, yeah. The main thing is I just need your defense to keep Chuba Hubbard from getting 15 fantasy points. I was feeling pretty good last night. We both had one player left. His was Chuba Hubbard tonight. Mine was Tyreek Hill last night. Thank you, Tyreek, for your 15 points. I wasn't expecting 51, but I kind of I needed a little more out of you. But that's all right. I got Belichick. All right. So, what about the other game? You got any thoughts on that one?
Browns, I think, going to win this one simply because I don't believe in Kenny Pickett as of yet. They took away one of his best weapons in Chase Claypool when they traded him to the Bears. And he was a bit of a turd because he was a turd last week and then announced to the Bears, like, hey, my bad. So I can kind of see why the Steelers got rid of him. But whenever you got Captain Tiny Hands and he already threw 2 picks last week, and this Browns defense, kind of showed up ready to play last weekend. You think they're going to show up ready to play again this weekend against not as good of a quarterback without as good of a receiver to throw to with Kirk Cousins and Jordan Jefferson last weekend. Now they're going against Kenny Pickett, and God knows who is his number one target over there in Pittsburgh. So I'm definitely leaning Cleveland with the points on this one. Probably going to lean the under that 39 because I just don't see the Steelers defense just giving up a buttload of points to Cleveland. And because of the pride factor, and Mike Tomlin just won't allow that to happen. Plus, I don't see the Steelers being able to score very much on that Browns defense. So I'm definitely leaning heavy on the under 39 and definitely taking Cleveland with the 2.
Um, uh, Basically, BC and I today came up with a prop play for you in this game.
Okay.
Deshaun Watson over 28.5 rushing yards.
Ooh. I'm going to say over. And the only reason why I'm going to say over is because I believe it'll be off-schedule plays that will get him over. I think that it'll be plays where it's just Chinese scrambling drill, fire, 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 plays broken down. We got to do something. He's going to take off with the ball. And I think he'll get at least 1, maybe 2 good runs and maybe a couple more here and there. And that'll get him to at least 29, 30 yards rushing.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. We're taking the over. So, yeah. So we're giving that to the people for free because that's what we do. All right, but before we get on to the games from yesterday, and we'll zip through those, I wanted to tell you this is your last day to get a team for the Dirty Birdie, which BC is putting on. It's Friday, September 22nd at Battleground Golf Course in Deer Park, 4-man scramble, complimentary breakfast, lunch, Bloody Mary bar, drinks and food all day. And if it's like the last 2 years, there's drinks on pretty much every hole. And yes, I drink them all. But there's prizes for the best and worst team, closest to the pin, longest drive, and hole-in-one. Benefits the Elmina Shriners and Ronald McDonald House. And you can register at dirtybirdie.eventbrite.com. But this is your last day to do it. Sponsorships are full, and but you could still get. I think there's 4 teams left that Brandon said, so it will fill up. And here's your chance. It is a great, great tournament. We get drunk and have fun. And I'll be playing with 2 guys that I always play in scramble with because they hit the ball a ton. And I'm old and broken down, especially with this neck. I can't really hit the ball. So I just let them drive, and then I hit approaches and putts for the most part. And we do okay. And we outdrink most of the teams, except probably not BC's team. But
yeah, I was going to say, like, his team might give your team a run for their money.
All right, let's blitz through the games. Colts-Texans yesterday. I had 2 thoughts on this. First off, I think it was a blessing for the Colts that Gardner Minshew got to play because right now he's a better quarterback than Richardson. I mean, Richardson looked great running the football and got the 2 touchdowns, but you would have thought the Texans would adjust to that and make him throw the ball. And it's hard to tell because he was clearly concussed when he came out. And I got to say, that was a cheap shot hit on him in the end zone. There was no reason for that. He was in the end zone. And why that wasn't a target, I bet he gets a fine. But he left his feet. He launched at him. It was just awful. And you know what, Texans? Shame on you.
I mean, it was.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Have you been drinking today?
No, I have not had not one drink today. I'm looking at the play again right now just to kind of just check it out and see if that was in fact no, he wasn't in the end zone. He was not in the end zone.
He's a yard in. And
No, he was
at
not.
that,
I'm looking
at,
at it right here. He was clearly
all right,
outside.
whether he is,
He hit him right at the like 1-2 yard line.
okay.
That was a clean hit.
No, it's not a clean hit. He launched and went helmet to helmet. How else does a guy get a concussion? How can you defend that?
He bounced. To me, the concussion came when his head bounced off of the turf.
No, it came when the guy bashed the side of his head with his helmet.
Let's see.
That's just a horrible play, and shame on them for that. But I want to get to some other things in this game because that's a side thing. It's just everybody wants to defend their guys, and the Texans wouldn't do stuff. That was a horrible play. The other thing is, and I don't know about you, but Will Anderson and Derek Stingley, they were on milk cartons yesterday.
You know, the inconsistency kills me when it comes to young players and them fulfilling their potential. And I did not see a whole lot from them yesterday. Anything good, I'll say. I saw stuff from them. It just wasn't anything worthwhile or anything good to talk about. It's very, very, very frustrating when you have a guy like a Will Anderson and he's constantly getting stonewalled by offensive linemen you think that he should easily beat. And the worst part about it is when you see flashes of brilliance from guys like him and Stingley, and you know they're capable of it, you just don't see it consistently enough. That's the most frustrating thing.
Well, I think with Stingley, the one thing I'll defend him on is they didn't go after him very much. And I think it was smart to do that because the rest of the secondary, they're already down to second string guys. And the defense was terrible throughout the game. I mean, Gardner Minshew's a real quality backup, but you let that guy look like Joe Montana. And, no pressure either. That was the thing. They were getting no pressure. And I just thought it was an all-around poor performance. I think C.J. Stroud was fine. I think he did really well when his crappy offensive line actually gave him a chance. But that wasn't often enough. So,
Yeah, I think missing those two safeties in that back end really caused them some issues as far as communicating, getting alignments and whatnot is concerned. And plus, those guys are two playmakers. So when you're missing guys like that in your secondary that, kind of quarterback that defense, that plays a huge part in it as well. Now, that doesn't mean that your pass rush can just go to shit because you still want your pass rush to be your pass rush. So they definitely got to work on some things. I did see D'Amico sending some blitzes. That's not something we've seen very often with the previous two coaching regimes that were in here the last couple years. But to see him dial up some blitzes and them actually have some semblance of a pass rush was good. However, you want to see that from your front four, not constantly bringing 5 or 6 guy on a blitz anytime you want to get some pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah, but I thought they did it too late, frankly. They started doing it when they were down, and that's when an offense that's already got the lead can take advantage of that. So, listen, I thought this was one of the games on the season that the Texans would win, and clearly they wouldn't. And by the way, is Quiddy Pay the most weak-ass name you've ever heard for a football player? Come here, Quiddy. Good Quiddy.
There's been some weird little football names, but that one is a kind of a what the hell? It doesn't sound like a football player's name at all. He sounds like a baker or something.
I'd rather he be named Sue. Going back, that's a Johnny Cash callback. So my first reference today is I actually made 2 others earlier. My first music reference to Johnny Cash. Hey Todd, thanks for supporting the show, guys. We're at a point where every little bit helps, and we're right on the margins right now, and frankly, I need a couple more advertisers. My goal is to keep this thing going. I've got enough to get through the end of the year, but after that, I'm actually thinking about getting a real job again because it's been a scrape. So anything you can do to help anybody who might want to advertise, we do take care of our advertisers, as you can tell, and we just need to keep growing the show. But I need a couple more. or else Kira and I will be homeless, and you don't want to see that. So, actually, we're not going to be homeless, but I'm going to have to get a real job until the movie money comes in. And see, this is the thing about all my other businesses. This is a profitable business, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I had to, I could, and I've thought about it, maybe sell off some shares because, get some money now that will go back to everybody because we're making money, which is rare for most of my businesses. But the other ones, they're all home run things, right? They're all gonna hit soon, including the movie deal. I just don't know when it's gonna be. And guys who own businesses, you know how it is, man. It's like 1 month you're flush, and 1 month you got $27 in your account, and
Yep.
it's just how it works. And when, of course, once the movie deal's done, then I mean I can do whatever the hell I want. And Todd says he knows how it is. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's one of those things where you just got to roll with the punches. You know, you got something, worthwhile. It's going to come through. It's just, can we get to this point? And once we get to this point, okay, can we get to the next point, and the next point, and the next point? And you got a good thing going. Don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. It's just,
oh yeah,
like you
yeah,
said, a
it
matter of
is.
when. It's
But
a
but
matter of when.
it's like anything else, and as you guys know, I'm not in the position I was when I was married. I got my ass kicked in that and lost a lot of great assets, but I kept all of my own businesses, gambling on myself, which is what I always do. And yeah, I'm gonna have to sell off some guitars this month, and maybe I do have to sell off some shares in the show until it gets me to where one of these others pop. And it's not just the movie stuff. I got a couple other things that are really close, but you just don't know. I mean, you don't know until it actually happens, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of where things stand right now, and so every little bit helps. And again, I do think I might you know do some shares so that people can be a part of it because I mean it is money back immediately. It's not what you put into it right away. You're probably looking at 6 months to a year before you're making a clear profit, but it is a pretty good investment as long as I don't die. So you are betting that I won't die.
Yeah, that we're kind of banking on. That we're kind of banking on.
All right. Before we move on here, I wanted to. I know you went through this before I did, but I have decided I'm just not even. I'm not dating anybody anymore. I'm just done with it.
Why you tapping? Wait. Now, y'all, this is where we're gonna kind of pull back the curtain a little bit and kind of give you guys a little insight and everything. So about 3 years ago, I'm going through my divorce and whatnot. We're still in pandemic time and whatnot. And Fred and I hadn't seen each other in a while, and we were hanging out and everything. And he's like giving me the whole pep talk about divorce and prepping me for it and everything. And the guys are teasing me about stuff. And there was even one time where I believe AJ tried to hook me up with Esme at
Yeah.
97.5 live on air. And the guys always gave me crap about this, about that. You got to get out there. You got to date. You got to try this. You got to try that. Now the shoe's on the other foot because I'm dating and in a relationship, and now my boy is getting divorced. And now I'm like, hey,
When
got
I
to
getting
date, got to
divorced,
get out there.
no, I am fully divorced and have been for a little while now. So
right, my
yeah.
bad.
No, but when I talked about this last week, I tried the online thing and it was just absolutely a fucking joke. Like
Oh, really?
chicks trying to get you on their OnlyFans, or chicks saying,
Yes.
hey, and nobody wanted to meet in person. I had one that met me in person, and then she clearly didn't like me because she hasn't talked to me since. So like, what did I do? I'm actually better in person, right?
Dude, it's weird now. And the only thing that I could say is like my saying was I would say like the dating pool has floating turds in it.
That's probably fair. But most of them are like, well, I don't really want to meet you in person. I just want to have a chat buddy. I'm like, fuck that. That's not why I'm on a dating site. And
Right,
then
exactly.
and then the rest of them are all like, well, I just want to be friends. I mean, you're really cool, and I want to hang out with you. And I'm like, well, my circle of friends is getting smaller and smaller, right? So one rule that the ex and I used to have, like if I bought a new shirt, I had to get rid of a shirt. bought new shoes, you had to get rid of a pair of shoes. So
Makes sense.
if you're gonna be friends, I got to get rid of another friend. And guess what? I got a pretty good group of my female friends, and like I said, Eva and I are great friends. She comes on here and makes fun of me, and everybody laughs, and it's great. I got my buddies Dana and Lauren. I hang out with whenever we're all drinking buddies and we have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need another one of those.
Right. And that the thing is as long as the intentions are clear from the get-go, then okay, cool. But it's like, why are you on a dating site looking for friends? That's what Twitter or Instagram or whatever is for. Snapchat or something like that.
Let's create onlyfriends.com for that. What the fuck?
Yes.
That's what we should be doing.
Yes.
There's another business idea that'll fail for me, but
yeah. Or remember the time we were sitting there drinking and we came up with that idea about renting pets to people who want to go and attract the opposite sex?
Yeah, that was a good idea too.
Dude, that was one. We had that one fleshed out and everything. I think everybody was on board with that one.
Well, and I was thinking about renting out Kira to guys, right? Because she's a chick magnet, but not when they see me. So, no, I quit. I don't need them. I don't need them. Don't want them.
Come on, man. You can't give up that quickly. Like, it's only been it hasn't even been that long and you're already tapping out. Like, dude, come on. Yeah, but you got to get back on the horse.
Keep talking for a second.
Cause see, my thing is, I was getting frustrated and discouraged and everything, and you guys were like, "No, you got to get out there. You got to, the more darts you throw at the board, the more chance you have to hit the bullseye, and all that kind of talk." And
yeah. But I also, you're younger and better looking than me. I think that would always be successful. All right, brother. I appreciate the time. All right, I got 2 minutes before we get Robbie over here. I want to have Robbie on real quick. But, yeah, man, good stuff as always. And, I go week to week on this, right? Because a couple weeks ago I said, you know what, I'm going to try again.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I'm just, you know what? And this is sad and pathetic. But most nights I'd rather just sit at home with Kira and drink and watch Netflix or sports.
Dude, and see, I'm glad you said that, and I'm glad we have this recorded. So now I can go back and play this for Roger and Lawyer Dave and the crew when we were hanging out. They were like, "You need to get out the house, Jermaine. You need to get out the house, Jermaine." And look who's saying this now. The same guy who said, "You need to get out the house, Jermaine. You need to get out the house, Jermaine."
All right, well, you do need to get off the podcast, Jermaine. So thank you as always.
Anytime, man. Anytime.
We'll have you again soon. And
yes, sir.
Great stuff. All right, I'm going to tell you about Lawyer Dave, and then I'm going to have my buddy Robbie on real quick. But he owns the place and does a great job here. This is one of my favorite places and love coming here. So appreciate the opportunity to do the show from Coaches. And here he is, the owner, the proprietor, one of my good friends, and just an all-around great guy. Robbie Curry joins us for the end of the show. And I remember when Robbie bought the bar. It's been, about a year and almost a half now? Yeah. And, the previous owner, everybody knew, and it was just like a neighborhood bar and all this stuff. And when I first met Robbie, he's like, "I'm going to make positive changes." And I'm thinking to myself, who says I'm going to make negative changes? But he is real. Exactly, right? I remember you saying that. But you know what? He's done such a great job with this place. New menus. He's really made it more upscale, and I love coming here. The food's fantastic. He's got a bunch of stuff going on. So Robbie, what else you got going on besides just the fact that I can come here from lunch and enjoy the hell out of it?
Well, we have a lot of sports teams we're setting up right now. We have the Panthers and the Saints going on. We have two groups coming in to celebrate that tonight. Every Sunday we're doing brunch. So we have all-you-can-eat brunch from 11 to 2 for football. And we just like having fun. We have karaoke nights on Saturday. We have Tuesday trivia nights. And then Friday we have music bingo. So we just like having great people like Fred in. We hang out, we have fun, and have some drink.
Well, and as I was saying earlier, this is a great place to come watch football. especially Sunday NFL. But college is great too. But I mean, he's got everything set up where all the games are here. And I think I was saying earlier, you've got more TVs than I've had bad dates lately. And unfortunately, Robbie's seen a couple of them too. But no, I mean, it's a great place to come and watch sports. It's just a great vibe. And I mean, he's made it a much, sorry, Greg, he's made it a much better place. I mean, it really is. And a much more, I just say that the whole vibe is different. It's much friendlier. It's a lot less cliquish, which it was a little bit. And it's much more diverse, which I really appreciate. It's just and I meet somebody cool in here every time I come in that I haven't met before. So if you guys haven't been here, you need to come check it out. So so like if you're a Purdue fan, you got Purdue groups here.
We got Minnesota, we got Kansas and college, and like I said, we have the Panthers for NFL, and now the Saints. So I see them coming in the door now.
Yeah, Saints are a great one to get. And so are the Panthers. There's actually a lot of Panthers fans here. But anyway, so we're going to cut it off so he can get ready to entertain all these folks. But please come out, check it out. Louisiana and Webster in Midtown. It's close to downtown. It's close to me over in the Montrose. It's close to everybody. And I always say the best thing, besides the place itself, they have parking.
I was about to say, we have a parking lot. No one else has a parking lot in Midtown.
No. But don't park here and then walk somewhere else because they will tow your ass. I've seen it. I actually warned some hot chicks, and they parked there, and they're starting to walk over to, I don't know where they're at. I think they're going to go to Woodrow's. I said, hey, if you guys leave here, they're going to tow your car. Just go in and have one drink at Robbie's place at least.
That's it. They watch the cameras.
Yeah, it's like, you don't know what you're talking about. So I might have spiked the ball a little bit when they came back and the car was gone. Well, Robbie, thanks for popping on. Thanks for having me out today, man. Always a pleasure, and I'm sure I'll see you soon.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for today's show. Please, please support guys like Robbie and guys like Vu at the Phoenix. And all right, so and BC, I did not walk my tab earlier today. BC picked up my tab, so he just wanted me to admit that. But we did see two guys walk their tab, and that was pretty embarrassing. But anyway, so if you have a fantasy question, I'm going to give it about a minute for you to put your fantasy questions up. And I'm going to tell you about Lawyer Dave, who was supposed to pop on and do a long segment with me today. That was one of my special guests, but that's okay. I still love him. But Lawyer Dave is the best. He took on my brother's case. My brother got rear-ended by an 18-wheeler. I had another guy send me a case today that I forwarded to him. And listen, Lawyer Dave will look at everything and he'll be honest with you. And he'll tell you, yeah, we don't do this kind of law, but here, go to this guy. Or, no, you really don't have a case. Or, we're taking your case. And if he takes your case, you know what the best thing is? You don't pay a dime until you win. Because Lawyer Dave, he sent my brother to the doctor, got him x-rays. Turns out he's got some serious neck injuries from this, and he wouldn't have known that. And that's what he'll do if he takes your case. He'll get you a doctor. He'll take care of you. And I had about as much fun Saturday night as I could have watching UH get its ass kicked, because Dave and I were hanging out at PJ's, and Dave was sweating Michigan trying to cover 40 and a half. Didn't happen, but he loves the Blitzers. He loves the Falconers, and he will take care of you. And if you just have a question, please give him a call, 713-626-8900. 713-626-8900. That is Dave. You need a lawyer, better dial Dave. So Shock asked, do you guys think I should do Tua and Waddle for Ridley, Goddard, and Kirk Cousins? I'd have to see your roster, but I wouldn't do that. I think Waddle's only going to get better. All right. Okay. I usually have final thoughts, but it's starting to get crowded in here. And BC Saints fans are here. So we're going to wrap it up. We'll do it Thursday over at the Phoenix with some guy named AJ Hoffman. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I love you guys. You're the best. And I really appreciate you. And we'll do it again on Thursday. Till then, stay sportsy, Gulf Coast badasses.